Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. In today's episode, we are continuing the third part of the 18-year-old pregnant teenager who was found dead with her boyfriend inside the Kia Optima. After being reported missing, they both turn up dead. And so little by little, there has been little bits and pieces that have been coming out. But this surveillance video that has come out, all eyes need to be on deck. Because let's be real, we can't let anyone get away with this. This is one of the most tragic and mind-blowing cases. Because a 18-year-old, fully pregnant, ready to be induced teenager, someone savagely murdered her. You take that with baby Fabian, who was due to be born that day, only for this to come out, all eyes on deck, right? You probably agree with a lot of that, is my guess, because all eyes are on deck and everyone is glued to this story. But now police have revealed some new details regarding Savanah Nicole Soto, the pregnant 18-year-old. And again, this happened in San Antonio, Texas, and she was reported missing last week when she failed to show up to the hospital in order to be induced, which she was supposed to happen that Saturday, 6:30 p.m. And so she was later found dead in a car alongside her 22-year-old boyfriend, Matthew Guerra. Now, San Antonio police chief, you can see him right here. This is the police chief, Bill McManus. And he gave a press conference during which he said that Soto and Guerra's bodies were both found inside the couple's gray Kia sedan, and both of them had died from fatal gunshot wounds. And their unborn baby was also pronounced dead at the scene. Rest in peace, baby Fabian. Rest in peace, Savanah Soto. Rest in peace, Matthew Guerra. You know, I don't know the life that they were living. Little baby Fabian, he had nothing to do with any of this. He was caught in the middle of it. By all accounts, maybe they were not living their life like saints. Who does, right? But it should not get this far. We don't know everything that they were involved in, but little continues to come out. And so we find out about this surveillance video. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So we learn about this surveillance video, and it's not as clear as we would like, but at least we have something to take a look at. Now, Bill McManus, the chief, he gave this press conference, and he confirmed that Soto and Guerra's bodies were both inside that gray Kia. You can see the gray Kia right here on your screen. Both victims died from fatal gunshot wounds. Who is the man in the tank top? Okay, that is going to be someone who has some answers. That is just the truth. Even Chief McMahon said clearly it was a heinous act. It was unspeakable, the tragedy of it. Back into the point that all eyes on deck. Okay, because in here at this time, we don't really know much. My guess is they were already dead before this occurs. That is just my thought process. And you can see it's a big guy. Now, granted, all over the internet today, people are just screenshotting, is this him? Is this him? Unbelievable how much people want to play detective. They'll throw anyone under the bus. So we have to be careful for where we're getting information that we believe is a reliable source. Now, Savanah, she was last seen alive on Friday, December 22nd at the apartment complex where she and Guerra had both lived. And she had been scheduled to go to the hospital the following evening with her mother in order to be induced and give labor. She was 1 week past her due date, but she never made it to the appointment. And so her family, they reported her missing, and then a clear alert was issued for her. Then, before you know it, they're both found dead in the vehicle. And so they were both found in a vehicle located in the 5900 block of Danny Kaye Drive on Tuesday, the day after Christmas, with police saying that the car appeared to have been at that location for several days. And so the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office determined that the cause of death for Matthew was a gunshot wound to the head, meaning that he too was murdered along with Savanah. Now, while authorities said that the manner of Guerra's death had not been officially determined, Chief McManus said that both deaths are being investigated as a capital murder. And so he later would clarify that investigators currently do not believe that it was a murder-suicide, but noted that the possibility still exists. And for that to exist, that would mean if it's, we know that there's been some conflicting information, right? We know that for sure. And in this information, you got to also realize that false information will also be spread. We do know that too. That is normally part of this whole process when someone does that. Now, what we don't know is why. A lot of speculation, but we don't know why. And in order for it to even be remotely along the lines of a murder-suicide, that would mean that someone who first found this car would have had to move weapons out of there, would have had to move guns, because they did not find his cell phone. They did not find a gun, but they were both murdered and shot dead. So with that being said, we do know that people got there, right? One person who said that they're actually close to the family, might have been a cousin, said they opened the door, while police say that the door was locked. Conflicting information. That's why it's important that we're careful on what information we take, and it should all, if you ask me, be taken with a grain of salt. Hands down, right? Always got to take this stuff with a grain of salt, because no one is going to be very clear with it. Period. And so through this, it's like, if that possibility still exists that it was a murder-suicide, again, there's still a lot more work to be done. That means someone had to take it out of there, right? And so, anything is possible. Let's be real. The family's like, no way Matthew would hurt her, right? No way would Matthew do the unthinkable to her. And so, you never know what anyone is capable of going to what extent in order to say, hey, my child didn't do anything, whatever. But right now, they're investigating them both as being murdered. And so I think it's important that you understand all avenues here. But Chief McManus, he says that the investigation, they were killed he says that he believes that Soto and Guerra were killed at a different location and then driven to the area where their bodies were later discovered. I truly believe that. That was my thought process from the beginning. If someone did this to them and they're found there, it wasn't done there. Because I was like, how did no one not see this car sooner? So with that being said, I'm like, okay, it had to be moved there. That was my initial thought right out of the gate. And, through that, it's like, McManus, he said that the ME had not yet officially identified the second victim, but we knew that it was Matthew by all that. But the ME would later confirm that it was Soto as one of the victims, who also died of a gunshot wound to the head. Chief McManus, who had previously said that the discovery, it was a very, very perplexing crime scene. That's what he described it as. Probably because he thought he was going to get there and it too would be like he did this to her. I'm just guessing, because I'm guessing they thought one thing at first, and then after they dug deeper, because you got to start speculating right away if you're detectives, right? You got to play everything, you got to rule everything out. And so my guess is it's still probably a perplexing case. Like, who could have did this to a freaking teenage mom ready to give birth? Only the ugliest of the ugly could do such a thing. And so, now we have this surveillance video that it's like, okay, let's see what more will possibly come out of this, right? Let's see. But, they released this surveillance footage yesterday of the victim's vehicle being driven by someone other than the victims, and a dark colored Chevy Silverado pickup truck being driven by a second unknown party. Right now, these people are persons of interest. Chief McManus asked for the public's assistance in trying to identify either of these two people. And, they both appear in the video. So it's key to understand that this was actually filmed nearby to where they both were living, right? Where they both were at. And so the filming was not far from where they were later found. So my guess is that someone actually did do this, and then they went to, drop them off. That's just my guess. And, truth is, it could literally be something else, right? But what we don't know yet is, why, who, when. Well, we kind of know when, kind of a guesstimate. But this footage, it was recorded a few days before the discovery of the bodies, okay? The day after Christmas is when they find them, right? But this shows that the Silverado and the victim's Kia pulling into a parking lot and then stopping side by side. I think that is key too in this matter. Okay. And so what's also strange in this is, they pull in side by side, and the driver of the Silverado, who looks to be a pretty big dude, right? His belly is hanging out quite a bit. He looks to be a pretty big dude. And when he comes out, you can see his belly hanging there. Truth is, it's not hard to pick that person out, at least body description, but you're going to need more to prove anyone who might appear. Because a lot of people are now probably being questioned that appeared like that. The guy that was in the actual vigil, right? There was a guy that looked really big, and all of a sudden, I'm sure everyone's, trying to reach out to him and ask questions and assume, how that assumption stuff can go all the time. But the guy that gets out of the Silverado with the heavy set dude, he's wearing a white tank top, and he exits the vehicle, and he opens the driver's side of the Kia, and he talks to the person that is the driver of the Kia, who gets out briefly before they both return to their vehicles and drive away. Now, Chief McManus, he said that he believes that the person driving the Kia, the victim's car, gave the driver of the Silverado something that looks like a towel. Like, it looks like a towel, but it was something to wipe down the side of the car with, like not to leave any fingerprints since he just opened that door. But he added that we can't be 100% certain of that. And so we don't really know, but my guess is at the time of this video, they're already dead. That is my guess. I'm believing that they are already dead at this point, because they're planning out What's going on now? Where am I going to meet you? That I'm just guessing, obviously, because I'm not there. I don't know these people, but I'm just guessing. And I'm thinking that it's a quick, here, all right, we'll meet here and let's go over here now, and something like those lines. But, the thing that grabs my attention is the way the person comes around the corner. Okay, that does grab my attention. So watch. I hope I'm not in the way here. Hold on a second. Make sure I'm not in the way there. But if you see, let's see if I'm in the way here. The way the car comes around the corner. Yeah, you could see it. The way the car starts coming around the corner. Let me rewind that. See, it even uses its right turning blinker because it was going to turn right into this parking area. Excuse me, I think I might be sneezing here shortly. And so you can see at the beginning, when the car comes in, it's using its turning signal to pose that it's going right. That grabs my attention because are they coming off of a street? Are they coming from around the corner? They don't come in with the lights on, which makes me say you're not trying to be extra careful because you don't even have your headlights on. So that caught my attention when I noticed this. And so I'm telling you, my guess is someone's on the radar. They have someone on the radar. It's hard for me to believe they are not digging deep and hard into this, especially with what went on. But, they find the car in a different apartment complex from where they even lived. And, whoever finds the car, they literally call the Soto family and the San Diego Police Department, who later confirmed the identities of the pair that called, that were in the car, should I say, excuse me. And so that's when, Chief McManus, he says that both Soto and Guerra, they both suffered in this whole process. They're both murdered. And the unborn baby Fabian, did not survive this at all. So that's 3 homicides. And right away we know that they're investigating this whole thing as a capital murder case. And you got this evidence with this shocking surveillance camera footage that police got that was in a nearby parking lot. And so now these are 2 potential persons of interest that they're trying to talk to. Obviously, they're referred to as persons of interest, but they're going to be someone who's going to be dealing with some problems because, yeah, they just want to ask them questions now, but it's a lot deeper than just some questions, isn't it? So I think that is key in this process. All right. And so they don't know who was behind the wheel of the truck, and they don't know who was in that. Some people speculate that in the car there was a female because they think that there's a ponytail. Well, I think the guy has a ponytail. So I don't know about that. But this is nearby where the bodies were found. So you are asked to please, if you know anything, say something, because whatever you say about Matthew, he wasn't a good guy. He was abusive to her. I 100% agree that he was a wrong, but I don't think that he deserves to die. And Soto, she was discovered in a horrific position, holding a baby seat in her arms in the front of the car. That's what has been reported out there. And now you got this information by the police. It's chilling. It's chilling. If this person who was driving that Kia, if there were 2 deceased people in there after already having the worst things done to them. And so again, you see that guy that is he has a tank top, all right? That person of interest is seen wearing a white tank top and the other a dark colored t-shirt. And so the San Diego police, they're encouraging anyone with any information about the 2 to please speak up. All right. Both the Soto and Guerra families, they have both spoken out after the heartbreaking discovery of both Matthew and Savanah. And truth is, this is a tragic thing. All right. Now, Soto's mother, Gloria Cordova, and her aunt Laura Cordova, they each say that, Matthew, he was very abusive. Matthew used to abuse her. That's what Gloria, Soto's mom, shared. And she even told her, get out of the relationship. And as her mom states, she was hard headed. She wouldn't listen. But she says that, but I think this time she was going to leave him already. That's what I'm hearing. That's what Soto's friends were telling her, that she was going to leave Matthew. Again, now they're about to have a baby, so who knows what would have happened if things didn't come out this way. But the aunt, she says that Matthew, he is guilty of leaving bruises on her niece. And so she spoke out. They were upset. They were upset. And according to Soto's mom, she says that her daughter was in the wrong place at the wrong time, claiming that's what the shooting was the result of, Matthew Guerra's activities, what he did. Everyone knows that what he did was illegal, and he would do some crazy things. All right. And we know that Matthew had a criminal history. Literally, I shared that with you in yesterday's live, I believe it was, or the day before. We know he had a history. We do know that. And according to the family, he was trying to get his life together. And so I think at the end of the day, we weren't there, right? We should be respectful of the family. We should be respectful of all of it. Okay? They didn't deserve this. The kids, Matthew, again, say what you want about his scandalous life, his abusive nature. I don't think he should have been murdered, though. And little baby Fabian, to me, it hits the hardest. That right there is where everyone needs to say, this needs to get solved. This needs to get solved. That was a little baby ready to come out that day. This needs to be solved. My friends, this has been another episode of Deep True Crime. My whole purpose is to keep you aware of what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. And let's be real, it is a crazy world we live in. And they didn't deserve this. They didn't deserve this. Baby Fabian did not deserve this. I want to be a voice for the victims. I want to let you know what went on, that, keep them in your prayers, keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your wishes, because there's some broken families today. Whether you like Matthew or not, his family's heartbroken. They're heartbroken for baby Fabian. Everyone was extremely excited about welcoming little baby Fabian. And now no one will get to welcome baby Fabian. My friends, please, if you are a person of prayer, pray that the family finds a way to keep the message on, a way to figure out a way to turn this bad into a good. You can never bring Savanah and baby Fabian back. You can never bring Matthew back. And maybe Matthew would have changed his ways, maybe he wouldn't. You never know what a child does to a person. And from by all accounts, my heart breaks for baby Fabian more than anything else. Mom, dad, they both chose a really ugly life. You can look all over social media. You can see what Matthew chose to do. And she's probably guilty by getting into a relationship with him. I don't know her personally. You got to always watch everything with a grain of salt, but they did not sound like angels. No one's an angel, really. But they were living the streets. They were in the streets. They were, he was, if you look at Ethan Soto, when his death happened and what they did in there, granted, there was a lot of heartbroken people. You can't ignore that could possibly play a role in this, right? You can't ignore that, because truth is, anger makes people do the craziest things. Now, before we get off, I want to make sure that there's nothing out of the ordinary that we are missing, and that, the search continues for all, the answers. Here's the truth. Do you think we're going to find answers? And if we do you think we'll get them soon? Because I'm a little more concerned about the fact that we don't know much now. We don't know much at all. And so it makes me wonder, how much will they have? How much? How much will they have? When it's all said and done, let's stop and think about it. We know that they had problems, right? We know that. And based on a lot of this looked like it could have been targeted. It could have been a hit out on them. Because, from a picture I saw from Jennifer Koffendorfer, who is a former FBI, obviously she still has ties. I love her analysis on stuff. And, the way she shared an image of the actual, the gunshot wound, basically. And she even shared that the gunshot wound, the crime scene and the contact, the gunshot wound, based on what she can tell, it could be a number of different things. But police said that Matthew was shot in the head, all right, and that the wound was a contact wound, like the gun was on his head. I mean, that's chilling. Chilling. But we don't know in Savanah's case. We don't know if she was done like that as well. All right. There's still going to be more that comes out. But from what they're sharing, there wasn't a bunch of blood spatter everywhere either, almost meaning that it was very close up to skin. Right. So, when would that mean that there was no bullet that exited? There's so much to this. The question is, did his lifestyle lead to this? We may never know. We may only speculate. We hear his cousin getting out there and saying a bunch of stuff, but we don't know. I'm Manny Rodriguez. This has been another episode of Deep True Crime. Until next time, my friends, be safe, be aware, be alert. Peace.